3 crews on scene. Is he a juvenile?
He's 17.
Yes, stand by.
Vlad found a group of people online, very, very secretive and dark thing, which is how cults work like that. It's a pro-suicide group.
He needed help, but there was no one there to actually help him. They were helping him to end his life.
The authorities know all about it, but so far haven't closed it down.
I saw my son fighting for his last breath.
Stop, leave him check.
No pulse?
In that moment, you want miracles.
Any evidence of what he's taking?
They found a bottle up in his room. We didn't know this stuff was in our house at all.
He was trying to cure himself.
Ready, steady, slide.
My brother's final words were the name of the poison that he had ingested and 2:30 a.m.
999 activated.
It's too many suicides we go to. You do see it getting younger and younger, and it is horrific.
The consultant called his time of death and they stopped working on him.
And this is how we lost the most precious little boy.
Hi, I'm Masha and I'm one of Vlad's older sisters.
I'm Mia, I'm the eldest. Vlad was my baby brother.
Hi, I'm Graham. I'm Vlad's dad.
I'm Anna. I'm Vlad's mum.
We're definitely not your typical family, but in the best way. When I found out I was getting a new brother, I was very excited. And he was everything I dreamed him to be, little chubby baby with the curly locks.
Oh, it was beautiful. He was a lovely little kid, so friendly, so happy.
Vlad, he was very kind, very considerate, full of life.
In Vlad's early years, he was fearless, really.
There's no doubt in my mind that Vlad was surrounded by love.
But in Vlad's early teens, he started to withdraw. He became very solemn. They diagnosed him with anxiety and depression.
Over the few years, things drastically got worse with sort of self-harming and being very isolated, not talking to many people.
He was saying that he feels different than other children. He wanted to be tested for autism, and yes, he was diagnosed that he's on the ASD spectrum.
Knowing he was autistic helped Vlad come to terms with why he felt different, but he still struggled.
I went to Bristol for uni. Maybe every couple months, I'd have to come home on the train, as Mum would say, like, we need you here. Vlad's in quite a bad way, and a lot of self-harming and suicide attempts happened in the space of like 2 years, and it was really hard to see someone I was so close to suffering so hard.
I have gone through suicidal ideation myself, but knowing that he was under the care of the Child and Adolescent Mental Health Service kind of provided an amount of relief.
With our help and the help of professionals and medication that Vlad was prescribed, he began to get better. However, as his mental health improved, he began to suffer physical pain.
He got pains in his legs, muscle weakness, and terrible migraines. He had tests and the consultant said he had functional neurological disorder and there was no real cure.
This was devastating for him, but he was still fighting hard and he was making huge progress.
He had like a 5-year plan of what he wanted to do. He wanted to be a theoretical physicist.
He started socializing, seeing friends, traveling. He was fighting for life, for future, for happiness.
Mum paid for us all to go on this holiday because obviously Vlad struggled socially, so she wanted just us young people to go and enjoy ourselves. And that holiday we just had so much fun, and it was like I was getting my baby brother back again.
But unfortunately, there is a sinister twist. There was something we were not aware of. Vlad found a group of people online that he thought he can share his dark moments. And this is a forum which encourages people to end their life. It's a pro-suicide group. Very, very secretive and dark thing.
Looking for a peaceful way to go.
So frustrated I survived OD.
I'm done, dude. Hanging myself now.
Just need to source some... Which cutting tool is better?
I have taken... Goodbye.
Goodbye, friend. See you on the other side.
Rest well.
Safe travels.
It's just horrendous. He needed help, but there was no one there to actually help him. They were helping him towards the end, to end his life.
Even if people using this forum struggled and they think that that is, for them, the best way to deal with it, no one knew my brother well enough to make any decisions about his life. Even though he was doing better, he was still vulnerable.
All it takes is an echo chamber like that that reinforces pro-suicide beliefs to push somebody over the edge.
Vlad has passed away age 17 on 7th of May 2024.
We literally all call it doomsday. The world came crashing down.
It felt like a really ordinary night. He was lying under his soft cover, the yellow one.
We were down here watching some stand-up comedy because he loved a bit of stand-up, and he was playing with the cats. He was quiet, but he'd been quiet for a few days because of the migraines.
He said, just wake me up earlier. I didn't wash my hair, so it's clean for tomorrow for college. I said, no problem. Absolutely not a single inclination that anything was wrong.
About 2:30 in the morning, Anna screamed for me that something was happening. He climbed up the stairs and then screamed for Mum, saying that he had taken something.
Very serious voice. Mum, call doctors. I've taken the poison, call doctors now. I don't know what the substance is, but he changed his mind. He's changed his mind, and he came to me for help to save him. And then Mia's running from her room.
I looked at my phone screen for some reason and it said 2:42.
Vlad was down on the floor, all seizuring, having a fit.
In a doorway, fitting and fighting for life.
It was just a state of panic.
It was violent, it was sudden. He just thumped from the words, Mum, call doctors.
He was all clenched up, his hands were all clenched up, and he was shaking.
I hear my mum scream, he's having a seizure.
He started vomiting on one side. He was like, his body was making strange movements. Mia was trying to hold his hand.
My mum's freaking out. She hands me her mobile phone, obviously to call 999, and I'm in shock.
And then they told us to just start doing CPR. So I just knelt down and they were explaining to me how to do CPR on my own son. I was just focused on that. I was doing what I could to try and save my son's life. You know, that was the only thing I could physically do at that time. And it was just horrible.
Then ambulance came and police came as well.
3 crews on scene. Is he juvenile?
He's 17.
Yes, stand by.
It was quite chaotic there. There was a lot of paramedics there. Obviously, my 2 PCs were there.
You just give me a hand clearing some stuff out of the way for ambulance.
You've got a 17-year-old kid who was incredibly poorly.
They found a bottle up in his room with some crystalline powder in it. We didn't know this stuff was in our house at all.
I saw my son fighting for his last breath.
Rhythm check, please.
Stop, rhythm check, EA.
No pulse. No pulse.
I keep saying, like, just help him, just do something. I know they were doing things, but in that moment, you want miracles.
Inside.
I think that's Mum down that way.
I ended up in the kitchen on the floor praying, and one of the policemen asked me, are you religious? Because I remember that question. I said, I don't even know what am I just want my son to be okay.
Top of the stairs on the landing.
Seeing him laying there, surrounded by paramedics with all this kit on him, doing chest compressions, and every 30 seconds check for a pulse, no pulse.
There were lots of beeping sounds. That went on for 2.5 hours.
No pulse.
I was asking, why are they saying no pulse? Why are they saying no pulse?
Vlad's mum came out of the address. The sergeant brought her over to our car.
It was very scary. His nails done blue so quickly. I've never seen anything like that.
She was obviously absolutely beside herself.
Yeah, I just want him to be able to speak so he can tell us all that, to be well.
There was a lot. There was a lot going on. It was just horrible seeing how Mum was.
I was trying to cure himself.
Me and Sophie tried to keep her mind off of what's happening inside her house.
Abby's already got the stretcher there ready to go.
Moving him down and out of the house and into the ambulance was very difficult.
Ready, steady.
Especially as they were using the automated CPR machine.
Right, hang on.
feet up. So just drag him over that, and then we'll go straight out.
I was just really hoping Vlad would make it.
I literally just stood over him, watching him, hoping and praying he would wake up, but he just didn't. And then they took him to the hospital.
999 activated. Me and Rory followed up on blue lights behind the ambulance with Mum and Dad in the car. Vlad was not in a good way. We went straight into resus, where Rory stayed with Vlad, and I went with Mum and Dad to the family room.
The medical team were working on him in the bay. His skin was just so grey. I'd never seen really anything like it.
I think we deep down knew what was going to be the result, but sitting in the room with Mum and Dad without being able to change anything for them was really, really hard.
After a while, it became clear to the medical team that Vlad had died, and the consultant called his time of death, and they stopped working on him.
They came out and said that we had lost him.
They all left the bay at that point, the medical team, and I had to stay with Vlad. And I remember being the age that he was when he died, and I couldn't imagine being in such pain and dying in pain when you didn't want to, and that you realised what you'd done was a mistake. I started crying, even though I had a job to do. I couldn't stop the emotions.
I remember being there for Rory, who was particularly struggling, and I was just trying to stay as professional as possible, because for the family it's horrific, and it's their pain that you see.
I called Mum. I was calling her non-stop, and I was like, what's going on? Like, why do I, like, what is it? And straight away it clicked in my head. I was like, is it Vlad? And she was like, you need to come home. He's not with us anymore. I was just in pieces. I just couldn't believe. I didn't want to believe it.
As a professional, we covered everything we needed to cover. As a person, this stayed with me.
It's too many suicides we go to, and you do see it getting younger and younger.
I'll never forget Vlad. I don't think I want to. I thought about him a lot in the days afterwards, and you know, he's always going to be with me whenever I go to anyone who kills themselves, and I'm always going to, you know, remember the pain that his family went through, that we couldn't make better.
Right, Vlad's room feels so empty now.
Yeah, he should be sat right there.
Yep.
Tapping away on his keyboard.
Yeah. Still smells of him. In the months afterwards, we found being in Vlad's room very difficult, walking where he collapsed.
Poor Mia has to go through it all the time to get to her room.
From your side, Mum?
She had an idea that we make it into a family room.
To move away from that awful night in May and trauma, to celebrate beautiful time and privilege that we had having Vlad in our lives and us being together with him to feel his presence. That's Vlad's favourite blankie.
Vlad was a big gamer, so yeah, we wanted to remember him by setting up this wonderful station so we can enjoy the games that he used to play.
This here is Denton, Vlad's probably most prized plushie. On the night that he decided to take his life, he had Denton close to him, giving him comfort. We found it on the sofa where he had consumed the poison.
Right, so his bedroom's this front one here.
The police investigation has to be meticulous, so it is a slow process.
So we've been trying to find out more ourselves by reading all of Vlad's posts on the forum.
And I found news articles online, including Angus Crawford at BBC, He's been reporting on this particular website and the poison for years.
I want to talk to you about the poison you're selling.
To my horror, reading back through Vlad's forum messages, I could see he'd ordered poison from this same seller on the same day the BBC exposed him.
I don't sell them.
The seller had messaged Vlad explaining his order was delayed due to the BBC report. He called it a misunderstanding. The order would ship soon and not to worry.
But the package from Ukraine was found still intact in our house, so it wasn't the poison Vlad swallowed.
He got that from another country. We found that he'd ordered from different suppliers. We watched Angus's report on the 10 o'clock news.
People are using the forum even to find partners to die with.
It's a match-up site
for the suicidal. Those posts were made by Angela's son, Brett.
It's just absolutely vile.
Yep. The authorities know all about it,
but so far haven't closed it down.
I mean, how is that not a crime? I really don't understand how is that not a crime.
Even more worrying, we found
dangerous men using it to target young women.
Anyone can come
across it.
Any age.
Child can come across it. There is no checks. Because we were reading the threads that our son was having with people. It's just how slowly escalates. And then you have private chats and then led down that path, the path of death.
Then they just ban the account. That's it. The forum's done its job.
Vlad changed his mind.
It's too late now.
It's too late now. It might not be late for others, so I think it's really important that...
And that's why we're making this documentary, to try and prevent other people having to deal with what we're dealing with right now.
Just this is absolute...
It's just hell.
Hell.
Hi, yeah, it's Angus. How are you?
This was Vlad's room. It's been somewhat memorialised.
Very much still sort of Vlad's spirit here.
Absolutely.
So the report I did most recently, did that help you in any way understand a little bit more about the forum? Did it raise more questions than it answered?
We were in shock watching it, realising this is a breeding ground for all the predators possible.
There is almost definite grooming taking place on these websites.
Which is really disturbing.
The site needs to be taken down. There's 50,000 people on this forum. They're not getting help. They're getting instruction of how to end their lives, and then they're getting people to say good luck when they found all their substances. We wish you luck, we wish you find peace. Where's the peace for us?
And for other families that lost their loved ones, some sort of justice, because it does not feel fair. The people who sold the poison, the people who encouraged it, how is that legal?
They're alive. Our son is dead.
It's very dark. The big unanswered and awful question is, how many people may have died after interacting with it? And in the UK, we have a list of 70 names which we can verify, but we know that one particular method that Vlad chose, we believe that's connected to about 130 deaths in the UK. And you're a trained psychotherapist. Your job is to help people in distress. Do you detect, when you see this forum, anything in it which is designed to help people recover?
Absolutely nothing, because from psychotherapist's point of view, safe space to discuss those urges can only happen if it's facilitated by professionals. There is no one there who actually is safeguarding, so it is highly toxic and very dangerous. It's a hopeless place.
There is nothing at the moment to stop a child being on the site.
Absolutely nothing.
As Vlad was a child.
Exactly right. It's just the tick box.
And you, bravely I think, have spent time in the forum talking to moderators. What did you learn?
When they discovered that my brother was a minor, they acknowledged that that's not something that they want on their site. They answered a couple of my questions, saying, we have since updated the rules to include, do not conceal or interact with minors. A member on here was apparently aware of my brother's age, but did not report this to us. If we knew, we would have taken action.
See, that's quite an admission. They are moderating a forum which openly has children on it.
In fact, they aren't moderating a forum.
Yeah. It's sort of the Wild West, really.
Absolutely right.
Does it feel to you like it has certain characteristics of a cult?
Definitely, because Vlad was slowly taken away from us. So there is the whole secret life, which is how cults work like that. And then he spirals. He was sucked in, because that is the grooming. That is the scary element, like a brainwashing.
So he felt like he belonged. I mean, when you look at the messages,
yes,
it's clear he started off as a vulnerable, slightly shy member who then grew in confidence, and by the end was talking openly about methods of suicide and trying to assist other people in finding out about methods of suicide. He became quite an active member. Is that a difficult thing for you to know now?
If I'm to look at the surface, yes, that's shocking. However, knowing how loving and caring Vlad was, and how vulnerable he was, and how much he needed to belong, and when we put grooming and brainwashing and kind of cult element, I can sort of understand it. And we put an autism into the whole thing. It's like...
Yeah. So he'd have taken it as a literal, I want help.
Literal. You want to help?
They had a post where, how do you want to be remembered? And this is what he wrote. All I've ever wanted is to be able to help people and make them smile. My kindness was my true downfall. I focused on everyone else's needs before I began to consider my own.
Would you mind just getting hold of the DI, seeing if he is happy for us to search for any evidence of what he's taken?
This is a package that we think has come from Ukraine.
Okay.
My name's Chris Barrow. I'm a detective sergeant based on the Child Abuse Investigation Team at Southampton.
Where did we find those?
We found these in the living room again. Myself and DI Matt Cumming are acting to investigate the death and also to establish whether any offences have been committed that need further investigation. There's no reason for Vlad to have had these. Ultimately, that file will be passed to the coroner for an inquest to be heard and for the cause of death to be given.
A large majority of our investigations involve some sort of online content, a person behind a chat room or a phone. You don't know who that person is, you don't know what their motivations are.
The website in this case is potentially a forum for people to groom people into harming themselves. I do think that there is a possibility that people are on there who are getting off on the fact that people are talking about ending their own lives. We've got the what we think is the poison. So this is something that we believe has come from Poland, and it's been incorrectly labelled on the bottle to presumably pass customs checks. We've then got some pills that have been taken from a UK pharmacy, prescription medication which haven't been prescribed by Vlad's GP. And then we've got here the cola bottle. It's got some clear liquid in it. So we believe that this is what he has dissolved the poison in to ingest on the night that he died. It's not been easy for Vlad to get hold of them. He has researched and understood and been told where to buy these things and what to buy in the first place. So, without the website, Vlad wouldn't have been able to put together this set of items and ingredients with which to take his own life.
It's been almost 6 months now since Vlad passed, so we're just looking for any updates.
Unfortunately, we still don't have the full post-mortem results, which aren't expected for another few months.
Has there been any investigation ongoing in relation to the forum?
We've managed to establish that it's based in South America and that it was being hosted by a server in the United States. So we know that it's not a UK-based server, which does make it difficult. If somebody in a different part of the world were to encourage or incite, then they are the ones committing the offence, and it's very difficult for UK law enforcement to investigate them for what they've done.
How many more people need to end their lives in the same way before it becomes an Interpol-level investigation?
I know that it's definitely on the radar of international law enforcement, both from within the UK and from outside of the UK. Vlad's case is very much able to be part of that if it forms part of that wider investigation.
So there is no new other evidence that you can share with us that...
Not that we have at the moment that I can share, I'm afraid, no.
Yeah, that's okay. It's taking a long time, but it's good that they're doing a really good and thorough job rather than rushing it. I'm really hopeful that something will come out of investigation, because there are players in the whole story that have crossed the line of decency, of human decency, of humanity. We come and visit Vlad every day because that is the only thing right now that makes sense. I brought you some plants from our garden, shrub that you helped me plant, yeah? Still in the process of accepting it that has actually happened, so this is why I talk to him. I know he can't hear me, but I'd like him to be able to hear me, wherever he is.
Rain or shine, we'll come here where we're calm, you know, it's where we're together with him.
Everything is homemade by us, including your cross is homemade. Mia's engraved your name. We watched a bit of a nature programs yesterday.
Yeah, you would have loved it.
Give him updates. And then we light a candle. That's it. Sometimes paint a stone.
We're all dealing with it in our different ways.
In a strange way, it feels quite nice to come to the cemetery. So I do feel like he is here with us and he's got a beautiful spot and we've made it as lovely as we can.
I just kind of feel his pain, really. I am a lot happier now that his grave is marked. It kind of makes it feel more of an appropriate resting place.
He went in agony. I can't even start imagining the terror that he went through.
The government said, intentionally encouraging suicide or the serious self-harm of another person is illegal. Once the Online Safety Act is fully implemented, platforms will have to remove this illegal suicide and self-harm content, as well as stop children from seeing harmful suicide-related material, even when it falls below the criminal threshold. If you've been affected by some of the issues raised in this film, details of help and support are available on the BBC Action Line.